Good day, traders. 1 minute mindset reset, probably longer than 1 minute. Today we're talking about focusing on the trades that you resonate with best and that you trade best. So today we see a narrow range opportunity on most of the major currency pairs, couple movers, but gold gave a textbook trade, short trade after the news, straight into longs from the beginning of the Asian session after first green day. So lots of feedback, lots of comments. And one of the things I want to reiterate is that my particular psyche about myself and how I know I resonate best with, number one, being consistent, the way that I like to trade, and how comfortable I am when I'm in the market, how comfortable I am on the types of trades that I am prepared to size into on. The length that I want to be in the market and at the screen. All of these things play into the picture of how I feel I resonate best with executing certain trades. Now there are other trades that, depending on the day of the week, the overall template, those sort of scenarios that, or even the instrument. For example, oil is a classic example of when there are certain trade setups that I can only go long on, and I know that there are trades that you can go into. I won't go in as heavy because I just can't go mentally. I struggle with going super heavy on certain long trades. Parabolics, yes, super heavy. 3-day parabolics. But gold, oil, indexes, it's so deceiving. And one of my go-to setups is always the momentum catalyst trade on gold, because it will typically disappoint many traders in terms of when you look at the chart, what you think you see. And again, I constantly tell myself, everything that you think you see on the chart is an illusion. The high and the low of the day and the traders that are in the money. That is the only two things that I really ever pay attention to. High and low of the week and the overall chart itself. But a lot of the price action inside is deceiving, which is where a lot of traders they put a thesis together and then they get into a new situation, or they take trades maybe at the wrong timings, and they can't understand why they're constantly struggling to be in a winning trade. So the timing is critical, and then on understanding, it's about knowing what you do best. So for certain traders, I mentioned, don't trade the news. Don't worry about trading the news. That's a best trade setup for traders who want to trade the news. You can have a first bounce on a 1 minute chart on an explosive move. You can have a first bounce trade on a 5-minute chart after the news. 5 minutes after the news, if the market has digested that information and you have an entry criteria met on a bigger pattern in terms of, again, everything to me is geometry, rectangles, trap volume, 3 levels, high and low of day, that sort of situation. So gold to me was a first bar entry on the 1 minute chart. And after the 5-minute close, we had a complete engulfment of a rectangle that trapped the entire volume of the London session. So the next place to go is who's in the money. The most likely trader to be disappointed is the longs off the low of the day, the first green day buy at the low of the day, low of the session in Asia. And then the market reverses its position and starts to go back in the long direction. So a great question from Live, another trader. Why didn't you want to go long on the first green day? I'm quite comfortable to go long, but just not with size. That's just how I'm wired. I'm happy to put a small position into the market and let it go. But in terms of me getting in on the momentum on the news, especially after 5 minutes, getting in and adding, is because I know that market is going to pulse down. And now one of the reasons I will at the low of the day or near the low of the day take the majority of that off and still hold a position is because gold will often surprise traders and look like it's reversing and then punch through again. And so the traders who are long, not only do they get stopped out at break even, but now they're potentially incurring a loss. And you just don't know as I say, and I repeat over and over again, you don't know what it's going to do until when it gets there. How does price behave? What time is it? Because we're nearing the end of a rotation of a 15-minute cycle. That move down was 15 minutes. So again, 50 to 75 pips in 15 minutes straight down. That's how I'm wired. That's what I like to trade. But if you don't identify with that type of price action, or understand, or have that thesis, just not from having the experience yet, or not being, that's not how you want to trade, you don't have to trade like that. You could say to yourself, if this market turns around at the low of the day, then I'm going to be looking for the long entry back in line with the existing 3-day trend. Day one, day two's, we're into day two now, higher highs. I've already broken the high of the day in London. That's a stop hunt down, and then the reversal starts. Now, we could be in a measured move. I don't know. That's part of why I like to be in the market and be out. That's how I'm wired. When we get back and we're inside again, so whether that's oil, whether that's indexes, the longer that I would be in the market, the less certainty I have about how that market's behaving. So I know there's lots of traders out there who want to buy and hold, or they want to sell and hold. My style is I like to be in the market for explosive short-term moves where they're 90-10 probability. Now, that move back up to the high is a great trade. I just don't feel as comfortable putting size on the long side as I do on the short side. Now, that said, once that market reclaims and starts to work its way back up to the high of the day, there are opportunities. As I mentioned to one trader, if that was a Friday night and it was consolidating on the way back up to the high, I would be prepared to maybe add into that, because if it's a Friday night and we've had the news and now we're reversing, this is a trade heading into the weekend that could close or run for be an all-day runner heading into the end of the week. So there are different scenarios that play out, but you have to know what you do best. If you don't want to be around the news, just leave your regular time frame that you're trading on there and stick to your trading plan. So I'm only looking for easy stuff. Part of what, we'll talk about this in a video today, just about identifying potential pairs in the Forex pairs, weakness and strength, pairs that might look like they're setting up for an easy trade, whether that's 25. I took 15 pips on New Zealand, but it was a zero stress, easy money trade. So some traders might say, well, what's the point? But see, 15 pips, 15 cents, if it's easy money at the right time, and the setup is correct, is scalable, it's reproducible. The setup is reproducible. And on any given day, an instrument may give 15, 25, 50, 75, whatever that is, depending on the setup and the instrument and the type of volatility that it has. So rinse and repeat. You have to know yourself. And my whole approach is I want things simple. I don't want to sit around at the screen and look for trades. I just got my simple watch list when I'm going to the screen. How does price behave? What is the easiest go-to instrument? I like watching gold when there's news on, because gold typically will disappoint a lot of people and move. If it's a 3-day setup, if it's over the course of a week and we're up high week 3, down low week 3, we may be in potential for 3 levels of drop on a news candle. And again, Thursdays, Fridays, heading into the end of a week, we can often see that. So there's lots of different scenarios, but you have to just step back. I know when traders start trading, they get, so focused on the minutia, but you have to remember what's your big picture thesis about how you want to be trading. What suits your personality? What suits your risk parameters? What suits your risk profile? How comfortable are you managing and executing trades? So I know when I'm getting in on a news momentum trade, I'm getting out. I'm taking the money. That's my whole approach. And I'm watching the clock. I'm watching price. I'm watching how it's behaving, and I'm watching who's in the money. And then bang, I'm done. And that's easy money. And it's reproducible. News schedule is going to repeat over and over again. Simple things. High of day, low of day. They went up. They took out the high of the day. That is the first green day setup. It's a buy low, low of the day, low of the session. And the target is the high of the day. Well, they did that. They went higher. And then they broke down and went sideways into the U.S. Open. That's the dead giveaway. But see, I have to wait for news. They could have went vertical and exploded long. I don't know what's going to happen, but they broke down on the news. It was a perfect setup. It met all the criteria. First bounce on 1 minute. Well, first bar entry on 1 minute. First bar entry on 5 minute for adding. Now we've got an entire breakout trapped rectangle for a 75 pip drop. Now, when it gets down there, I'm locking it in tighter, because if it's going to take out the lows, it's going to keep going. If it goes sideways, well, now I know I got to tighten it right up and make sure that if it punches, I'm out and I'm taken out of the market with the money, done and dusted. No stress. Take what the market gives you, get on with your day. So you cannot chase your tail. You have to say, what do I do? What's your best trade? What have you executed the best? What do you see simply? Then hunt out those setups on any instrument. Hunt out those setups on any instrument. Don't get fixated on just following one or two things and trying to, like, to me, it's ridiculous when somebody says, I'm only trading these two things. Think about what's happening. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. You're trying to trade that every day. How can that possibly offer a best trade setup for 5-star every single day? It can't, but you can find them. Now, you're not going to get them every day, but one or two instruments are not going to give you that opportunity for quality, high quality stuff, unless you're trying to read the high and the low and buying low and selling high and all that stuff, which means hours at the screen, trading low probability days, all of those things. So I'm looking for the best setups on whatever instruments give them to me. That's as simple as that. So simplify, 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 execute, manage your risk, take profits, get off the screen, get on with your day. Hopefully that helps. But you have to know what you yourself as the trader, your personality, all of those things, what you want to do, what you do best, what are you likely to reproduce over and over and over again as a professional trader. Have a great day, traders. Keep it simple and enjoy your day.